All right, so we are going to create the isometric view of the Clappervox. We have done the 3-view drawings for it already. So the next step is to come down to our toolbar on the bottom, click on the little arrow next to that array of dots, which is the snap mode, and then click snap settings. And on this one, we need to click isometric snap. You do not need to have this snap on, by the way. That may or may not help you, but it is not required at all. I'm not going to use it. You do have to have the isometric snap on, however. And the other thing that you have to have on for this to work is the ortho mode. So right there, you can see my ortho mode button is highlighted because it's on. You can toggle that off and on with the F8 key if you want. And the other thing that is going to be on automatically is the isometric drafting, and you can choose which plane you want. So right now I'm in the top plane, and you can choose left or right, and you can cycle through those by pressing the F5 key at any time. Cycle through those guys and use the one you need. So I'm going to start this project by making the box that contains this object, which is often a good way to start these things, and then carve away from it. I'm in the top plane, and I'm going to be in my object layer, line command, pick kind of a random spot here, and pull down 7.5 inches, 7.5. And then I'm going to push away 2, and then I'll return 7.5. And then we can close this. By the way, to close, it's just C, enter, or you can click on the dot. Now I'm going to go down. And in order to go down, I need to change planes. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to hit the F5 key and pull downward the overall, you know what, not the overall, because I need to get to the midpoint anyway. So I'm going to pull down 2.25, 2.25, and then I'm going to keep going another 2.25. And what that did is it broke this line up into 2 pieces. You'll see in a second. And the endpoint is the midpoint, of course, so that's nice. So that was 2.25, and then another 2.25. And then this one, of course, we've already done. That's just 2. And then you can go up to the top and click on that. And as far as this side over here, it's just pulling that away. You're going to need to hit the F5 key, switch direction, and pulling back 7.5, and then up to there. Looks like I'm just grazing my dimensions here. So I'm going to move everything over just a smidge. Oops, I didn't grab everything. You know what, and here's a good example of when you might turn the ortho off. You might just be like, you know, I'm going to just hit the F8 key, and now I can make a regular selection and make a regular move, just kind of any way I want, and not be constrained to the orthographic planes. I'll turn it back on, F8, back on. All right. So I've got my box, and I already have my center line located here, and maybe I'll use a center line to mark that, just for fun. Check it out. I'm going to go to the midpoint of this guy. I suppose I could have just snapped on the midpoint of that line rather than making two pieces. I don't know. I wasn't thinking. Or maybe I was thinking too much. I was trying to be clever. See how I'm snapping to the midpoint of that line? So there you go. I guess that would have been better. I am going to take my nearest snap off, though, uncheck that one. Okay. So I've got the center line marked here. That's a pretty important line in this drawing because this drawing is totally symmetrical. So everything, above that line is going to look the same below that line, right? Okay. So now it's just a matter of making these features. Which ones do we want to do? I think the most obvious thing would be to carve out the sides, you know. So that's what I am going to do next. So the sides are, these sides right here are 8.813 thick, okay, which is 13/16. So I can come down that distance. I think that's what I'll do. Get my line here. Click on that corner and pull down 0.813. I'm just going to use decimals from here on out since I know what they are. 0.813. And then over. Just hang off the edge there. Actually, let's go down the exact distance. I don't know why I didn't do that. Let's do that. So I'm pulling down 0.813, and then I'm coming over in this direction the exact distance, which is 4 1/4. So 4.25. There it is. And then I'll go up. And that one I'll just kind of pull off the edge there. Okay, cool. So that is the upper one. And I could just trim this line off or drag that back if I wanted, either way. And it's going to go kind of in this direction and then up, yeah? So how far in this direction does it go? It goes this distance right here, from here to here. That distance is not given directly. The whole object is 2 inches and the bottom is 5/8. So that would make this piece right here, its overall height, 1 3/8 of an inch, 1.375. So you could do that subtraction, or you could just come over here and dimension it directly if you wanted to temporarily. Just click those corners and there it is, 1.375. So that's the line I'm about to create, this line over. And I'm pulling it 1.375. And then I know it's just going to go all the way off the edge here. Okay. So that is the basic outline of our upper, I don't know what we're calling those things. It's kind of like a shelf. Or how about a guide? I bet you that you might, or a support, guide support. So let's do the same thing on the bottom. So I'm going to click on the bottom corner, and I'm going to come up that distance, pulling upward in this direction, 0.813. And then I'm going to pull over in this direction for 0.25. right? And then just straight down. Okay, I can trim that off if I wanted. Trim this one too. So then we go in, right? And how far are we going in? We already talked about that. It's 1.375. So I'm going to go to my line, click on here, and pull in that direction 1.375. There it is. And then we're going to go this way. So this side is, as we already mentioned, 4 1/4, 4.25. And then I'll just close that. That happens to line up with that center line almost perfectly, huh? We can join this with this upper piece if we want by pulling back that distance, which is the 1.375, and then closing it there. Of course, that is not going to stay that way because this side is going to become an arc, but temporarily we can just do that. I'm going to get rid of that center line temporarily because it's kind of getting in the way. Okay, so we have the back, or I should say the right side of this box kind of defined. Let's keep rolling with this. This corner is the new endpoint, the new edge here, that guy. And I can just pull him long, and all this is just going away here. Just getting rid of all that. And of course, this is also going away. Where does it come back in? That is a good question. It comes back in where this corner and this corner meet. So you could show that, it might be fun to show that with a hidden line. So if I came down here like that, and then went across like that, that is that bottom corner, and that line would head out. Again, not really necessary for this because it's all going away anyway, but that's how you would find that corner, which again is going away. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this stuff here, trim this one. I'm just going to pull that back. I'm going to get rid of that entirely for right now. So you can see what the box looks like when the bulk of it is carved away and those sides are left behind. We still have a lot to do. We have to put the curves on here, the chamfers on here, the arc and the holes, and I think we can break this up into 2 videos. So to take care of that, because that's quite a bit. But let's continue with what we're doing here on the sides. Just to finish them off, we need to put the bevels, and they have holes going through them as well. So let's do that. The bevels are through 13/16 in size, equal size leg. So if I go to the corner and I pull down in this direction 13/16, it's just 3/16. 3/16 of an inch, which happens to be 0.188. Okay, and then I move over this away. I can mark, and I'll just kind of drag it off the edge. I can mark the chamfer. And I will do the same thing on the other side. So I'm just going to click on that corner and pull in this direction. And I'm going to type 0.188. Okay, and then I'll go back that way and you pull off. There it is. And so now I've marked the sides of the chamfer. That actual corner is gone. It doesn't really exist. And I'm just going to connect these chamfer lines like that. I could have deleted this stuff first. Maybe I should do that. Just trim these guys away while I can get in there easily. All right. And then just connect those corners. So that is your 0.188 chamfer. On the bottom, it's probably not going to be very evident. Let's see. Let's see what it looks like. We'll come up from that bottom corner the same way. We'll drag upward 0.188, and then we'll go over. Okay. And then on the other side, click on that corner and pull this way, 0.188. And then I'll go back to that guy right there. Look at that. That's what I was saying. It's probably not going to be too evident because it looks like the line just continues. It looks like it's the same line. We'll trim that out. Zoom in on that. Oops. Zoom in on it and show you what I'm talking about. It looks like it is the exact same line continuing across there. Pretty wild. But it is not. That's just to remind you what it was like a minute ago. It was like this. This line continued down. This line continued across. And that was the original corner right there. And then we made the chamfer by going up 0.188 and connected it to this one. So these legs are the same length. They're both 0.188. And then it's this corner that's getting machined away, right? And it leaves this, and it looks like the same line at that particular angle. Anyway, I know it looks weird, but that is the deal. The funny thing is, I just put a lot of effort into that, and it's all going away. When we do the big arc on this side, it is going to wipe out this corner completely and this corner completely. So that all of that there is going to get erased. But anyway, it's good learning. So finishing off this side, we need to put the hole in here, right? So the hole is it's 0.75 up from this side, which is what they gave us. I dimensioned it from the top down just because it fit better. So from the top down, it's 5/8. From the bottom up, it's 3/4. Whatever. I'm gonna for this one, because that corner is right there and it's nice and easy to grab, I'm gonna measure from that. Take my line command here, click on that corner and pull in this direction the distance of 3/4. So 0.75, and then come over this away to the center, and that distance is also 0.75. So now I have my center point marked. It is the end point of that line right there. The circle itself is a half-inch hole. All right. So we can pull off the pull off a half-inch in this direction. And you know what? Let's go to the ISO circle. So to do the ISO circle, it's ellipse EL enter, and then I enter, specify center. So the center point was here, and I'm in the top. So, right, it's basically what we're doing here. So I need to have that distance, that 0.25 spec'd out here, and making sure I'm going the right way. Click that way and go that way, 0.25. There it is. So that's the radius. I just wanted to check and make sure I was going in the right direction. So again, EL, and then I, and then click on the center and pull outward in the correct direction, which is that away, 0.25. So there you go. You have a half-inch diameter hole. And we'll do the same thing on the bottom. In fact, you could just copy it down really easily. I don't know if you want the review of my doing it again or just copying it. Either way, to copy this, it would be super simple. You would just copy CO, enter. You click on the object, enter. You grab it from a shared point, which would be like this corner. So that would be your base point. And then you would click on the same point below, and there it is. You're done. But as a review of how I made that hole, I clicked on this corner here to locate it. I pulled in this direction, 0.75, and then I pulled in this direction, 0.75. And then to get its radius, I pulled in this direction, 0.25. Okay, so I got my center point and my outer radius here, and then I went to the ISO circle, which is EL, enter, I, enter, clicked on that center point, and then clicked on the edge point or end point of the radius. So there you go. And then of course you can delete these line segments. Okay, so that does it for the sides. They are in pretty good shape. I think the last thing we'll do for this session is the holes, and then we'll save that the arcs on the sides and the circular slot for our next meeting. So to do these holes, that should go pretty quick. We need the center line. So I remember that was just the midpoint of that guy. I'll just bring that back, and that specific distance that I'm going to bring it back is 2 inches. So that is the center point of those holes, all those holes. And I want to mark their size. So the outer one, which is the one that's on this outer surface, is 1.5 diameter, so 0.75 radius. So I'll just make a line that comes down from there, 0.75, and that should do it. I'm going to go to my object layer and type EL, enter, I, enter, click on that center point. Am I in the right? EL, enter, I, enter, click on that center point, and then click on the edge. There it is. Okay, obviously everything up here is going to get trimmed away. But yeah, I'm just thinking that corner on this corner on these sides is not gonna be there. So you might want to hold off on trimming that circle away because maybe we should have done this later after the sides. Because like I said, that corner is not going to be blocking the view of the hole because that corner is not going to be there. Anyway, since we've started this hole, let's finish it off. How deep does that hole go? It if you look on the drawing, the counter bore is 5/16. So I need to make a line segment here, and I think I'll use my center line just to continue on this line here and pull it back that way. 5/16. So 5/16, come over here and look at it, is 0.313. 0.313. Escape. So from that point to that point, that's how deep this big hole is. And all I got to do is copy this exact circle from that point to that point. So I'm going to hit, what I'm going to do to make this a little more obvious is just change the color of the circle so it stands out better. Yellow. And I'm just going to copy it, CO, enter, from the surface that it's on to the surface it's going to, which is 5/16 down. There it is. So that is the back edge of this thing. And this portion is definitely not visible. That's never going to be visible. Anything that's behind this first circle. So if that first circle, I'll make it a different color. And the yellow one is the one that's behind it. And none of this is going to ever be visible, even if the corner does get wiped out, because this upper portion of the hole is hiding it. So I can trim that away for sure right now, for sure. Okay, so you can see how that is the inside edge of the counterboard surface. On this same surface, at the endpoint of that point 313 is the beginning of the 1-inch hole. So that is also the center point of the 1-inch hole. So now I need to make a 1/2-inch radius line from there. So I'll click on that endpoint and I'll just pull down 0.5, escape. And I'm going to get this one out of the way. And I know that endpoint is now the outer edge of the 1-inch hole. Okay, so let me do that one. I'm going to get into my object layer and type EL for ellipse, and then I for isocircle, and click on that endpoint, and then pull to that guy. Maybe I'll make him yellow as well to show that they're on the same plane. And its edge would be trimmed to this outer one. The red one is the outer surface here, this surface. So everything is going to get trimmed to that. But before I do that, let's make the exit hole. So this 1-inch hole begins on this surface here, and then it exits on the back surface. And the back surface, we could copy from this center point to the back thickness, which is probably a good way to do that. I could also just find that that point by continuing this line and intersecting it with the center line of the back surface. That might be a fun way to do that. So if I took my center line and just clicked on this guy and kept going with it, right? And then grab the midpoint of this one. This is my back surface. This is where the hole's coming out. And then say, just continue it this way. You can see where those lines intersect is the center of the hole at the back. Zoom in on that. Which happens by coincidence to be right there. Look at that right there. So I could copy this one that I just made. Remember, its center point was right here to there. CO, copy this guy from there to there. And that is the exit. Perfect. So if I get rid of these guys, all this stuff, and then trim everything to the red. So TR, enter, and then T, enter, click the red one, and then get rid of everything else here. That's what these holes would look like. And if I just temporarily deleted this stuff, so you can see it better. There you go. So that's the outer hole. This is the inner. This is the inside of that same counterbore. And this is a flat surface right here. Between these two lines is a flat surface. And then you have the vertical depth going in, and this is finally the outside world you're seeing right here. I'm going to leave this stuff intact here, because the truth is, if this corner was staying here, all of that stuff would be going away, right? This stuff would just all be deleted. But like I said, this corner isn't remaining, so we don't want to do that. But you now maybe it looks a little more sensible to you there.